Johnny Moody is a singer, songwriter and producer from the south coast of England. He draws inspiration from 60s and 70s music whilst also having a passion for all things new. Johnny for me is literally the epitome of an independent musician. Somebody with a talent, a drive, a passion and a clear direction for what they want to do within the industry. He's picked up and ran with it. Going back to the days when Johnny used to work in the guitar store to thinking that no, I can make it. I can make this happen for myself. Now Johnny is a professional, independent musician making his own music, and boy, has this guy got some talent. Today you're going to hear all about Johnny's musical journey, what got him into music, what music means to him, how he structures his songwriting, and you're also going to hear an exclusive performance, first time performance of Johnny's new single. So, with no further ado, my name's Luke Garns, and this is an independent musician. Tap, clap, sing along, but please keep it on beat. Hey Johnny, you alright? Welcome to the show, my friend. Glad to have you on the podcast.
Hey man, how's it going?
Yeah, really good. Thanks, really good. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. So I've just spent all afternoon listening to your music, pretty much, and having known you for many years, as a musician and as a friend, it's just a pleasure to have you on here and to get your perspective on the industry and what it is to be an independent musician. So the first question I like to ask the guests when they come on here, and I think it's really important that people, your fans, I think will be really interested to know this. What does music mean to you? What does music and being a musician mean to you?
It's been everything to me basically from about the age of 16. I'm not a versatile human. I can only do music. So, I don't know, since I was about 12 when I started playing guitar, and I started lying about my age playing pubs at 16 with my school band and stuff. That was the start of it all. And what it means to me, it's I think music's the closest thing to spirituality that I can grasp. It's something that can completely alter your mood and completely change your day without it being airy fairy or sort of wacky talk. Music surrounds you and you can't touch it. So that's what I like.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And going back to like your musical journey, you spoke about being 12 and getting into music. Can you tell us a bit about your musical journey and how you got into music and how it went from there to where you are now?
There was always a piano at home. My mum sung beautiful. She was a trained singer. My mum. There was always a guitar in the house and there was always a piano in the house. But I had like maybe 6 months worth of school lessons, and then the rest I just taught myself. I was like, this teacher's boring. He's not teaching me songs. I wanted just to play songs and write songs as well. I wanted to write music from almost day one.
Yeah.
Just like from the first chords, I was like, oh yeah, I've written a song. It's the most amazing thing ever.
Nice, yeah.
It was really cool, man. And I haven't looked back since, really. And I haven't done much else since. I went to art school from school. I went to art college and university, and I was sort of toying with the idea of being an artist and being a painter even. That's what I loved. But the guitar was always there, But I had an amazing teacher at college, and he made me consider being an artist over a musician. And then I went to university, and I realised how many twats were around me. Oh, just art school, mate. Don't get me started. Oh, sculpt.
Oh gosh.
Then from then I just I just chucked myself at music really. So that from about the age of 21, it's been all I want to do.
As many years as I've known you, you've always done music. Always. Like even back in the days when you were working at the guitar store, and that was kind of just like I don't even think you really wanted to do that job. I think you just wanted to do music, but it was just like, oh, this is something I can do where I can still sit there and pretty much play guitar all day long, and still think about making music. So I just think that's a great story and inspiration for other upcoming musicians.
It was more about getting a bollocking for playing guitar all day long in that job. Like,
You were always getting in trouble, yeah.
yeah, it was just like, go and sort the rubbish out, Johnny, or something. It was always shut the fuck up, Johnny. That's what it was. But yeah, it was a great job, man. It was great to be surrounded by like the best instruments that almost money can buy. It was a big part of my learning as well. Like you learn how to drive these things. An
Yeah.
acoustic, there's so much you can do with an acoustic. The electric guitar, it's learning what guitars do what job and what knobs do what and switches and shit. Like, I loved all the learning of it and learning how to work on guitars as well. That was cool.
Awesome, awesome. And getting into like you say, what you've been doing more recently in terms, well, for many many years now in terms of gigs, weddings, events, all these things, bands. How did you make that transition from doing the guitar store and stuff like that to like doing just all of that and just going all in?
It was a leap of faith, really. Like I knew realistically, all I needed was about 3 or 4 gigs a month more to be able to lose the day job. So I knew the second I would quit the day job, the guitar store would be the kick up the arse I needed to work that little bit harder. So that was it, and I just decided that it was time. I'd been there for a good 5 years, so I felt like I did a turn. And the shop it was a really great period in that shop as well. Like they had the best of the best at the time, so I got to know all the reps, and I got to meet some wicked players as well. Some lifelong friends as well. Like I met Johnny
Yeah,
Thwaite, Johnny.
yeah,
I met him in the
yeah.
shop. He was just trying out a bass one day. And I was in the other room. And I was like, "Who the fuck is that?" I was like, yeah. So yeah, we met, and yeah, he was one of the only one of the only people ever to play Tower of Power in the shop. And I was just like, he's he's going to be my mate. That's what I thought.
Yeah, yeah. He needs to be my friend.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's cool, but I think that's the great thing about music in general, isn't it? It does bring people together, and networking, meeting new musicians, and meeting friends as well. Like you and I met exactly the same way through music, and now look at us. So
Yeah.
but yeah. So going on to your bands and stuff that you've done, can you tell us a bit about I don't want to talk for you, but of course, bands such as Please and stuff like that you've been a part of, and projects and stuff you've done over the years. Just tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, man. My first band was called Pinstripe Legacy. That was the school band basically. That went on till about, I guess I was 18, 19, and that was really cool, man. We thought we were going to be playing stadiums and stuff. Never happened. But you could probably find some recordings on the old MySpace because nobody's bothered to cancel it. If anybody can be bothered, Pinstripe Legacy. That was the first band, and then my musical friends sort of and sort of world changed really. I met a new bunch of musicians, which really I'm not sure if it made me up my game, but it made me realise I had to up my game. They were that much better, and they've all gone on to to be great session players and do the TV stuff and do the big festival things and have very exciting Instagrams. Uh, but yeah, those guys really inspired me to start the next band, which was called the Bizettes. And did you ever see them?
I did see the Bizettes, yeah, I did. That was with Jason on drums. Is that right?
Russ Parker was on drums. Yeah, he was great, and Aaron Scrivener. But I mean that band had to. I loved that band, and it was everything I wanted to do, frankly. But I actually had loads of problems with my voice. I had a cyst on my vocal cord, and that was basically I couldn't gig. I couldn't even think about touring.
So getting into your album, I've been listening to all the stuff, and I've heard a lot of stuff over the years anyway. But the first EP, Alone Not Lonely. So I absolutely love that EP, by the way. I've got to say, my favourite song is Cloud Nine. I don't know what it is about that track, but it's just such a good song. I know that's just such a cliche way to say it, but just the guitar riff and the way it starts with the groove on the drums, just laying it into the groove on the drums, and the guitar riff comes in. I just think it's great.
Yeah. Am I living on Cloud Nine? It's sick, isn't it? It's so fun.
Yeah, it's so good. And you got a live performance, which is also going to be linked to the description of you performing at the Sofa Sounds event. I think a few years back. It looked like it was in like a church or something like that. But the audio on that is so great, and that's just an awesome performance of that song. And the one thing that I've noticed with you is that you have this ability to like bring the songs to life live. Like a lot of artists, they can't do that. So how do you do that? Because is it just backing tracks? Is it loops? Or because you don't just play it acoustically, you've got it all going on when it comes to live performance as well.
Yeah. Kind of. Basically, the only reason I don't have a band, Luke, is because I need at least 3 other members as good as me, and I don't mean that in a big-headed way. Like, I just can't afford the band that I want. Seriously, that's the only reason. It's why I haven't asked you to play percussion for me live. I honestly can't. It would be embarrassing what I can afford to pay you.
Yeah.
There's so little money in gigging original music, and I'd love to have a band. Of course I would. You know me. I've always had like a stomp box, just for like a bass drum ish thing, which I've got pretty good at that as a coordination. The whole. It's one of those ones. So I've got pretty good at that, and I put a few bits on track. I put some bass on track and a few drum machines and shit as well, just to fill it out. Like, because I've also noticed audiences so far haven't really minded. Mm-hmm. The second it would feel not live, I'm not interested. If the track stopped when I press play at the start of a live performance, if it stopped at any point, the song wouldn't stop. I'm still doing the meat and two veg of the track, and I think that's vitally important. And that's where a lot of people go wrong when they do use tracks. Mm-hmm. It's not like I'm a Frank Sinatra tribute, fly me to the moon, like no one wants to be that guy.
Kingfisher Blue. That was the one after that. I love the line in the song Anne Marie for a start. You put, I think you said something like, "You shone a light on all that I'd been missing. Turns out all I was missing was you." And I thought, oh gosh, has Johnny found love in this EP? But what is that about? Is that anything to do with your personal circumstance, or?
Not really. It wasn't about anybody, that track. It was about the idea of meeting the perfect girl, And I was extremely single at that point. I'm not sure. You must have known me in a phase in my life. I'm shite at being single. I'm not good at being on the pool or whatever. Because look at me. There is hardly an orderly queue in lining up to meet Johnny Moody. You know what I mean? Like,
mate, you should give yourself more credit. You should give yourself more credit. And if people could see your wife, then I think they'd be thinking differently, mate. You're doing all right.
I was patient, and I'm very, very happy. Yeah, I really am.
Nice, there he is. Married man, ladies. Married man. So but yeah. And then I'm just moving on to some more your recent tracks, Doing of It All. I mean, I love that track. It's got a great message. I think it's quite an inspirational message to a lot of people. And it really resonated with me, coming from a position where, you feel like you've got all the potential and you've got it in you to go out there and just do it. But the hardest part is doing it, So that's, for me, that song.
Getting started.
Yeah.
Do you know, I actually wrote the chorus and that guitar part really around 2012. And I was thinking about writing a song for the Olympic Games. I wanted to have like the anthem. I was going to pitch it and everything, and I recorded it, a very different version of it. And that was the whole idea. I had pictures of the opening ceremony in my head, like these loads of drummers about the place. And
that'd be awesome.
I'll show you. I've got that demo, man, somewhere. Next time I see you, I'll show you that demo. Like it's massively overproduced in a cool way.
Yeah.
But I thought. I thought that. I thought that guitar riff was too cool to chuck away, so I sort of figured out how I could do it on an acoustic guitar and do it as a solo.
That ostinato part that you seem to have on the guitar. For those people that are listening to the podcast, not sure what an ostinato is, it's like a repeated riff over and over again. Sort of thing you get in Billie Jean. Those people that have heard Billie Jean from MJ. The bass riff and stuff like that. Is that something which you purposely do in terms of your songwriting? Yeah. Exactly. That's an ostinato. So yeah, is that a conscious decision that you make when you write your songs? Because I know a lot of your songs tend to have those parts in them.
It's again, it's to sort of for the live thing as well. Like, I just want something that's not your standard. I am a singer-songwriter, but I don't want to be the singer-songwriter that comes to the stereotype of one,
Yeah.
I want my guitar parts to be a thing that's really missed if I'm not playing it. So those sort of parts, like that, it's rhythmically, it's really a big part of the whole record, and I think it's really important. And also, I'm getting better at playing and singing that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's cross. So, have I stumbled across something which is mine? Maybe.
No, well, exactly, and I think that's the that's what everyone wants in terms of being an independent. They want to have their own sound and not like imitate other people. So and I think you definitely do that. And it's not only just with the guitar either; it's your other instrumentation as well, like your drums. Like you add in like little tasty fills and stuff like that you wouldn't get just from like throwaway commercial music where it's the same thing all the way through. You know what I mean? It's more musically interesting. Would you? Thanks, I'm sure you'd agree.
Well, thanks for noticing. Like I'm so slow in the studio. Like I really know what I want always, and like I really take time over those sort of details. Even like having a different shaker for one part of the song and to another. Like that stuff's important to me because still the best way to listen is with headphones, in my opinion, and you hear those little details with headphones. And I love that.
Just from a recording point of view, when you record, do you create the sound and then record that sound, or do you just record it as a blanket sound?
I commit to tones and sounds. I try and do as much recording with microphones, so it's a real thing,
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So I'll just to get those big, again, Cloud 9 for an example. I did the splash on the snare drum thing. That trick?
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll hear.
Yeah.
It sounds on its own. Yeah, and I didn't even tidy any of that recording up. Like it's such a ramshackle recording, but it sounds so good in the mix. Like you can, some of them you hear it, and I hit it, and then you hear the splash go.
Yeah, and that happens right at the beginning. That happens right at the beginning of the song as well. Like when you're first bringing it in, and you've got kind of like an offbeat hit, haven't you, before it comes into the vocals?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, really, really cool. And my first experience of that was when I recorded Matt Henry's album in London, and I worked with Mr. Hudson. And I hadn't come across that sort of like approach before to recording. But I was in the studio and I was like sat there with a kit, no cymbals. All the cymbals had been taken off. And the reason for that is that he wanted that dry sound, or, we'd do something different, like we'd move one drum out because it's, little things like that, just so you're recording with the mics, like you say, rather than adding everything on afterwards. So yeah, that's really cool.
The way I look at recording is, anybody that's got Logic has, and that's basically everybody, anybody that's got a laptop with Logic on it has got the perfect Steinway piano, grand piano, recorded in the perfect hall in Germany with the perfect microphones. But what they haven't got is my shitty piano in my room.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I hope that people will realise when you've gone that extra mile to use microphones on your stuff, because that is what makes everything unique. That's what makes those Beatles records amazing, and that's what made the David Bowie stuff sick. Like it's just, what makes an interesting noise? How are we going to capture it? Like I love that side of recording, and I know it's really old fashioned, but yeah, that's how I do it.
I think that's what gives you like that authenticity as well with your own music, rather than being just generic. It gives you your own kind of like stamp on it. I want to ask you about your recording, about your ability to play several instruments, which is quite frustrating for a lot of people. But you said before that if you ever had a band, you need to find 3 people as good as you. And to be fair, it makes complete sense when you look at your recordings and your albums and EPs, because it's like you record everything yourself. Drums, percussion, but then you mix, you master it yourself, you do your own artwork. I mean, how important is it to you to have, autonomy over all of that stuff?
And just a disclaimer as well, the more recent songs through lockdown, I used some people remotely, so I have started using some other players, which has been great for me as well. But talking about me playing my parts on my songs, like, I'm not saying I'm a virtuoso at all, but I've definitely got my own feel and my own ideas of what a fill is on a drum and what sounds good to me, And I think I would almost have trouble having a different drummer coming in and having his own take on my parts, because I've got so used to them. And because I'm not a one-take drummer, 100% I'm not a one-take drummer. I spend a whole day on getting a drum part, Yeah.
But I'm going to go out there and say, as somebody who's played drums for 20 plus years, I don't think I could come into your studio and play how you play. So it's so true what you say in terms of like that feel. Like you have this certain thing about when you play, and anyone who hasn't seen Johnny play drums, I mean, probably go onto YouTube or something like that. It's probably a clip of him playing on it. I don't know. We'll try and fish out a clip from somewhere and link it in the description. But you have got a certain way about you, I don't know. It's the way you hear it. How would you describe that? It's hard to, yeah.
It's just I'm white, mate. That's what it is. I'm the white guy trying not to be. That's all I can say. I'm trying.
Okay.
I want to play like Steve Jordan, but I'm never gonna be him.
Yeah.
I'm always like Steve Jordan meets a bit of Ringo and a guy that's never had a drum lesson in his life. That's my opinion.
But I think that in itself is what gives you the sound that you get. And that's what I was alluding to when I said that I don't think that I or other drummers could just come in and just reproduce that. I think it's that whole wanting to be something, but then you're actually just being yourself. That's what gives you that sound, And, it's really cool.
I feel nothing but frustration the whole time, but actually other people looking in quite like it.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's you. You know what I mean? That's what makes it so good. So that's really cool. We're gonna get to your new single and hopefully get a little performance in there as well of that. But just talk to us a bit about your track Circle first, because I think that's really a great talking point, you know, after what we've just been through and are still going through with a pandemic. I know you wrote that song for that, so yeah.
Well, I wrote it during lockdown. Well, I finished it during lockdown, and I was like, you know, what can I do which isn't the same as everybody else? But you know, I just chose to release it as a charity single to raise money for Diabetes UK. As you know, I'm a type 1 diabetic, and I have been from the age of 12. And I've donated any of the profits straight to Diabetes UK. So that was the idea. And yeah, I guess the sentiment was let's try and fix some shit together. That's basically the sentiment of the song.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely. Very prevalent to the times we've just been through. And then coming on to your new single, Young.
Yeah.
Very, very cool track. Such a vibe. That's what I would say about this track. Is it's a vibe. Like I don't know if you appreciate that sort of explanation, but that's how I was listening to it, and I thought this is a vibe, you know. And there's just something about it, and musically as well. We touched upon it earlier as well, but musically very interesting. I mean, I know we may not get all of that right now, but there'll be a link in the description for people to check out the Spotify version, which has got all the bells and whistles on and stuff like that. But definitely musically a lot going on.
Yeah. Well, again, I'd like to just name check some people. It was actually Russ Parker on that recording.
Nice.
I sent him a me playing that groove, and then he sent me that back, and I chose to keep his.
Okay, yeah.
So that's Russ Parker from the Bizettes, and now he plays with Rufus Black. He plays with some real A-lister musicians now. So he's flown the nest, but he did his old mate a favour by playing on that one, and
Nice.
And it's Johnny Thwaites on bass as well.
Yeah.
And,
Cool.
I think Johnny actually did it in person here, the bass take. But me and him have got a great relationship in the studio. Like he's so patient with me, man. Because again, he can deliver all of my ideas. So I'm basically there singing bass lines to him, and he's got the most impeccable feel and tone. So it's always just he's so patient, and he just delivers, man. And for me, the best part of that whole track is Johnny's playing, is the way he
Nice.
in. You know? So good, so good.
Nice one.
Then
Nice one. Yeah.
everything-
Yes. Yeah. If it's all the same to you, we'd love to hear a version of that track now. Cue the cheering.
and also.
Okay, enough of that. Enough of that.
Dude, as well, this you've got an exclusive. This is the first time I've ever tried to perform this live as well. So you're welcome.
Wow.
Oh,
We appreciate
your
it.
views you're going to get tens of views for this, mate. So enjoy.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm going to try and not mess it up. I've literally got the chords and everything written down here, so we'll see what happens. So I quickly put together a little drum machine part on this app.
Wow.
It's the DM1 drum machine app, and it's wicked if you want to get into it.
Nice.
Let's see how it sounds. Let's see if we can do this in one take. Let's do it. As she walks out in the sun, in her green dress, knowing her new life has just begun. sipping at her coffee cup, thinking back to where she was from, thinking the sun now feels the same as when she was young. As when she was young. As when she was young. Now able to take her time, less just reason, more just rhyme. Why just walk when she can skip down chair, smiling from cheek to cheek, sun beating down on her ashes. Now the sunshine feels the same as when she was young. As when she was young. As when she was young. Now she feels young and she knows life will never be the same ever again. For a while she was on her own. She had to take back control. She fled the morning sun. It caught her. The sun is nearly set. After a day all good, no regret. It's been a road worth running as it brought her here. Thinking back to where she's from, who she is, what she's become. Now the sunsets feel the same as when she was young. As when she was young. As when she was young.
Yes. Love it.
First performance of that, man. I tried my best.
Oh, mate, that was awesome. That was awesome. I know people are going to love that. So thank you so much for doing that. And it basically just picks up again on what I said earlier. Like, your ability to bring these songs to life live. Like, you know, using your little drum machine and the drum machine and stuff like that. That was awesome. That was awesome. So good. I just want to finish up by asking you a bit about being a performer and any advice you'd have for upcoming musicians. I think something which definitely sets you apart, you know, from my point of view, is the fact that you're a musician as well as a singer. So you're like a singer, songwriter, but you're also a musician. And that comes through in your music because you not only have good lyrical content, you know, great vocals, but then you have like the musicianship, the guitar riffs and stuff like that to back it up. Do you think that is a necessity for people getting into music?
Not at all, but I can't imagine it without it, you know. I
Yeah.
definitely... I've always termed myself a guitarist that sings, not a singer that plays guitar. You know, so
Okay.
I'm always a little bit shy to call myself a singer, but I'm okay.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So you see yourself as more of like a John Mayer. Yeah.
No, I wish. Yeah.
But people would maybe think of John Mayer as a guitarist who sings as well, but he does a great job of it. In terms of performance, one of my oldest memories of you performing was at Pulcinella, and seeing you doing Superstition, and you had just started off with all the loops and stuff like that, the tambourine, the shaker, the cowbell, and then as the song progressed, you basically finished up the song on the floor, playing the guitar, doing a solo with people just around you, just going mental. It was like it was a crazy atmosphere, and I was just thinking, this guy is an absolute legend. And this is before we really became friends. You know, I just kind of knew of you and seen you perform around, and like, yeah. What advice would you give to upcoming performers?
I mean, I used to love those covers gigs, and man, the majority of my income, you know, there isn't really a day job for me. So, you know, the majority of my income is from doing covers gigs, and And some people really resent doing that, doing covers gigs. And I've never, ever had a problem with it. I see it like, nobody tells me what songs to cover. So it's still like, basically, there's no excuse to do a shit gig because you can do any song that you think is good enough.
Yeah,
so,
in any way.
Yeah, in any way at all. And like, nobody tells me I played that wrong if I completely change it. Like, it's an honour to be able to play other people's songs, and I really see it as that. And every hour that I've spent doing covers gigs, it's meant I've got better on guitar. It's meant I've got better at doing the playing and singing thing.
Yeah,
and it's all been awesome, man. Like, so basically, don't think that your own music is better than anybody else's, because that's my try to be better than Stevie Wonder, but you're probably not gonna be. There's good things to be taken from that, that insecurity of knowing what else is out there. Don't think you're better than anybody else.
And I think in turn that will probably make your performance better. Would you say? Because I was looking for you to give some tips on how to perform, like how you perform. But I think like that is a good tip in itself. If you open yourself up to, the beauty of the fact that you can perform any song any way, you can still give it your stamp. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think the biggest thing for my own performance thing, I think plugging in my left foot stomping, that's a big deal for me. I really would miss that, and I think an audience really appreciates that in comparison to your other covers acts around. The ones that just play the cowboy chords and smash out 2-3 hours of that. Like, I want to give people that chance to sort of,
Love it. Love it. So we've got a tradition on the podcast we're going to finish up with, which is the guest before you always asks a question for the future guest. So I've got a question coming for you from our last guest, which was Steve Lewis. But before that, I just want you to finish up by giving any bits of advice to upcoming young musicians who are looking to get into music. Just a quick bit of Johnny Moody time.
I would say, don't get into this to make money. Make music purely because you need to and because you love it. Because that is going to be the love for making music is going to be the thing that keeps you sane. Because you spend more time not making money than you do making it.
Yes.
But love it, and don't put upload to anything that you're not proud of. Why would you? Like, just do it. Be good enough. Like, practice and be your own worst critic, or best critic, or whatever. Just be hard on yourself to the point where you're good enough, or you think you're good enough, because that's and then other people will decide if it's good enough or not after that. Like.
Exactly, yeah. There's always going to be so many opinions, but all you can do, I suppose, is just give it your all, be the best version of yourself, put the work in. So, brilliant. Awesome. Love that. All right, mate. Well, like I said, thanks again for coming on today. Thank you for the exclusive performance as well. That was awesome. I know people would have absolutely loved that. And the question here from Steve Lewis, who was on the episode before yourself, he's asked, what is your favourite or most memorable musical experience or gig?
Memorable gig. Probably, I played a wedding in the south of Italy. I played in Sorrento, and my view from my microphone was Mount Vesuvius, just over there. Like, so I was playing right on the sea. I was in Sorrento, overlooking Mount Vesuvius, the one, and Pompeii just over there.
Wow,
it was just breathtaking, and that was, and Mum was there. I brought her down for the trip as well, so we really made a beautiful trip of it. It was awesome. It was magic, really magic.
Yeah. That's a lovely memory. Brilliant. Okay, well, yeah, I'm going to be getting your question from you, Johnny. I won't ask you now, but I'll get that from you, and then that'll be asked to the next guest. But just want to say thank you again for joining on here. We are going to have Johnny on again in the future for another podcast where we're going to get together in the same room, in hopefully what will be my new studio at the new place, and then we can hopefully get another performance from you there. And but yeah, thanks again. It's been awesome.
No worries, man. Who's my question for? Do we know who the next guest is?
We don't know, and Steve didn't know the next guest was you either.
Okay. That's
so
cool.
so the questions just get asked, and you don't know who you're asking them to. So yeah, but I'm sure Steve will be delighted to know that it was you answering that question. So yeah.
If Steve knew it was going to be me, he'd be like, "At what age did you start losing your hair?"
Yeah, you know Steve Lowe's too well. He would have definitely asked some sort of inappropriate question. Yeah. Anyway, thanks again, bro.
No worries, man.
Catch you in a bit.
In a bit.